Will this basketball team respond checkered or not against Alabama? I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I think they do. I've seen this happen a lot of times with talented teams. Now, I did not think this team would fit into this little cubby hole I'm going to put them in, but talented teams that have not met expectations. I've covered a lot of teams like that. Ron Slay, who I love, was on some teams like that didn't reach their expectations. So something tells me they are better than what we've seen in the past couple of weeks, and they'll put together a great effort at home and they'll win. And then we'll be scratching our heads saying, well, that's a good win, but why didn't they play like that the previous 2 weeks? I would almost guarantee it. I don't gamble. You do. But I think this is a lock. I think Tennessee beats Alabama on Wednesday, and I have very little doubt. There I go, out on the limb.
Wow, Dave. Okay, I'm sorry. I disagree. I don't think they do. I think Alabama wins, and they could win running away, quite honestly. I'm going the exact opposite way of you right now. I think that Alabama has, 2 weeks ago, we thought Alabama was collapsing as a program. They had lost to Oklahoma by like 24 points in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Tennessee beats Texas, and there was no reason to believe that Tennessee wasn't the favorite to win the SEC. Since then, Alabama's just gotten on a roll. And I mean, they're riding high after Auburn. They're 12-0. Tennessee's 8-4. If Alabama wins this game, I think they lock up the SEC regular season title already. That's something to play for. Because they're 12-0. Oh no, they don't, because Texas A&M is still right there. But that's another big reason for the Alabama to come out focused in this game. They're playing a top 10 team, technically on the road. They are 12-0. Texas A&M is 10-2. They're trying to get, get some space for the SEC regular season title, which I think winning a conference regular season title means a lot more than winning a conference tournament title. That's just me. I don't know how you feel about that, but
the conference tournament's just a money grab.
Yeah, exactly.
That's absolutely all it is. And I recall when it was in Atlanta and you had the tornado hit downtown Atlanta, it wasn't any big deal to throw it together in like Georgia State or somebody's gym, and everybody was fine with it. That just tells you that there are a lot of people that didn't really care about the SEC tournament. One team cares. It's the team that wins its way into the NCAA tournament. But for the most part, it is a Kentucky fest where Kentucky fans will be everywhere, even for the games that they're not involved in. So, I mean, it's a fun weekend, but Tennessee historically has performed really poorly in the SEC tournament. So if you're wanting to see Tennessee improve their seed, and by the way, I saw them as low as a 4 seed recently in a projection. If you want them to improve their seed, they need to do so right now, because if you base it on history, they're not going to do a lot at the SEC tournament.
Well, and also the NCAA selection committee doesn't place any value on the conference tournaments anymore. I don't know if you saw, but if you win it, you get the automatic bid. If you lose it, you might as well have never played in the tournament. That's how they did it last year. Tennessee won. They finally broke that SEC tournament drought, winning it last year under Rick Barnes. They were a 3 seed going into the tournament. They win the SEC tournament. They stay a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. Like the selection committee, the only thing that the weekend does is determine whether or not you get in. And
you don't have time. If you think about just slotting everybody, if a team reeled 3 wins off and got to Sunday and they were already in, like let's say Barnes' team, and whether or not they won on Sunday, do you have time to move somebody up a slot and then it shifts your whole bracket on a Sunday when you've got to get the selections out on Sunday evening? You just think about it logistically. I don't think you have the time to take into the conference tournaments.
Yeah, you're right. I've always thought that because, even after Tennessee, I think the Big Ten tournament ends at like 3:30 or 4 or something like that, and the selection show starts at 5. How in the world are you going to get slot your 68 teams with what happened in that last Big Ten tournament title? You're right. It's a money grab. It's a gimmick. I'm not a fan of them. So I think Alabama will have a lot to play for on that Wednesday. I think Tennessee knows it's effectively out of the conference tournament, SEC regular season championship now. There's no way, even if they win tomorrow night, there's no way Alabama's going to lose 3 other games and Tennessee's going to win out the rest of the year. That's just not happening. So I think Tennessee, that's a little bit demoralizing. There's a confidence issue. There's some injury issues. I still think the fluke part of Saturday, which I said was a silver lining, which is them hanging with the team that can put on an offensive clinic. I still don't believe they can do that consistently. And Alabama plays such up-tempo basketball. They're going to put on an offensive clinic. And I don't know if Tennessee can hang 2 games in a row with a team that does that. So I think I thought there was a silver lining on Saturday, but I said it was a silver lining. I didn't say that that's indicative of what's going to come. And it was just something you could take positively from it. But I don't think it's actually indicative of a trend. And I think that what you're seeing is a legitimate slide in Tennessee basketball that's not new for Tennessee. It's not new for a Rick Barnes coach team. And actually, funny enough, they're playing Alabama. It reminds me of an Alabama season. It must have been 2002, 2003 with Ernest Shelton and Mark Gottfried as head coach. They were like number 2 at one point, and then they just stumbled through SEC play and ended up like 7-9 and were just awful and bounced out of the NCAA tournament first round. This Tennessee team is striking me like that.
You have Alabama at home. You travel to Kentucky, then to Texas A&M, host South Carolina, host Arkansas, and then to Auburn before the SEC tournament. So what is best case scenario out of that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. What's best case scenario? Portions of the program brought to you by City Heating and Air, cityheatandair.com. City Heating and Air Conditioning. Integrity matters. Your HVAC unit doesn't necessarily need to be replaced, maybe just fixed. So out of those 6 games, best case scenario, Tennessee goes?
Trying to remember. So you said Kentucky, Alabama. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see them now. I mean, best case scenario, they go 4-2. But no, I'm sorry. Best case scenario, they go 4-2. But you're talking about visiting Kentucky, a team that beat them at Thompson Bowling, hosting Alabama, the number 1 team in the nation, visiting Texas A&M, who's second in the SEC right now, and hosting Arkansas, who is still really, really dangerous, and also visiting Auburn. So best case scenario, I think 4-2. Worst case scenario, you could see this team go 1-5 down the stretch, looking at the schedule. I mean, outside of South Carolina, is any other team a guaranteed win?
No, I'd be surprised to see 1-5, but we'll see.